All right.
All
Happy
right.
winter solstice. Look who's here.
Happy winter solstice, everyone.
Yeah.
So glad to be back with Jeff. Oh my goodness. I know Jeff's made mention of it a couple of times, but I have not been well for months and months and months, really challenging energies, but I seem to be making a huge comeback, especially today on this winter solstice. I'm so excited, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the astrology showed. You had some really nasty progressions and transits, and they're still wrapping up, but you're
That's
slowly
for sure.
coming back. It's amazing how accurate that stuff is, isn't it?
It's scary.
It's scary how accurate it is.
It's actually scary. I mean, I was so sick to the point where I thought I'm just about to leave this planet. Like I
Yeah. Yeah. You
really,
were you were like
really
wanting
thought
to
that.
make wills out. Yeah.
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 Oh, 110%. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm slowly, like you're seeing in the chart, I am making a slow comeback here. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited. And I've missed being like by your side and just helping you spread the message of astrology to everyone. So why don't you just jump right in? It's the winter solstice.
Yeah, you bet. I will. Yeah. So today, what we are all celebrating is the winter solstice. This is literally the shortest day and the longest night, and it happened at 7:03 Pacific time this morning. And of course, now we're in the afternoon. But this is a really powerful time of year, and I always mention there are 7 52-day periods throughout the year, right? Starts from the sun, which is at the spring equinox. So that, in my opinion, is really the new year. But I'm going to be also honoring the new year here, January 1st. I'm going to be doing my January 1st podcast, and that'll be much more detailed about all the energies coming up. But today, I just wanted to do a short solstice podcast which kind of honors, if you will, when the sun goes in the northern hemisphere only to its literal lowest point in the sky. Now, if you're down under in Australia or South America or somewhere else, it's also going to be at your highest point, right? So it's always the opposite of where you are on the equator side, north or south. So this is very, very powerful, and it's interesting because the energy of this today is happening in a lunar mansion called Mula. And I looked this up, and see, you got to remember, tropical astrology works on the tropics, which is the solstices and equinoctial points. The winter solstice is always the point where literally it is you can see here on this diagram, the winter solstice is opposite the summer solstice, where we have the shortest day and the longest day, right? And of course, the spring equinox is where the days are even, and the fall equinox. That's why it's a Latinized term called equinox, right? Equal. So, anyhow, what's important here is the energies that happen on that. All your ancient astrologers would look at and cast charts on the solstices and equinoctial points. Well, I did that on this one, and I did it for Washington, D.C., because, I'm in America, but for wherever else you are in the world, this is also applicable. And this is an interesting chart because we just had a new moon on the 19th. So we're in the very first quarter of the waxing moon. We also have the sun and Mars going to a conjunction on January 8th. So, like I say, be careful this holiday with road rage, getting around violent places, etc. Observe caution, because it is an intense time right now with this sun-Mars conjunction. But it also has a really powerful energy that I looked this up, and it's actually happening in the sidereal zodiac in the angelic degree of valor, which is actually quite good. I really like this one. The symbol of it was there was a sphere with Saturn and, of course, Jupiter on the top, and on the bottom there is the sun and Mercury. So this is a really powerful time of great change. And this also happens when the sun is in the lunar mansion of both Ketu and Rahu subperiods. So, operative word here, change. I think we're going to see massive changes here this year. 2026 is going to be huge. And I don't want to get too much into 2026 because I'm going to be doing a podcast specifically on the new year, which is, of course, January 1st in the Gregorian calendar. So even though I favor the spring equinox as the new year, we'll honor what the rest of the world does, right? So it is January 1st, which everybody celebrates on the Gregorian calendar. So this day is a really powerful day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, the solstice, what it means to me, and possibly what you could check out, for your own life. I really like doing cleanses in and around the solstices and equinoctial points. And when I say cleanses, what do I mean? Well, it's really good to look at possibly liver cleanses. And, I'm not going to get into, I can't give anybody medical advice, but there's a lot of ways out there to do this. One of my favorite books was a book years ago, my cover's torn, but it's called The Cure for All Cancers. And now this was actually done by Dr. Helga Clark. And in this, she has parasite cleanses and she also has liver cleanses. And what's so cool about a liver cleanse is they say the bile ducts in the gallbladder actually get clogged, and it doesn't allow the toxins in the liver to fully excrete out your, of course, eliminatory organs. And what's so, I think, good about this, and I really do, I need one. I've been feeling really toxic lately. And what I love is it's a simple cleanse. You use walnut hull tincture, you use some Epsom salt. There's also, I forget the name of it, but there's a certain type of cleanse you need. It's all in that book, that these ingredients come together and you mix it into a concoction and you drink it and you lay down, and in a short time later, you release all these toxins that are in the bile ducts. Well, when you look into this, and most doctors that I've spoke to agree with this, you can get bacteria, you can get all kinds of things clogging and backing. So liver cleanse is awesome. Also parasite cleanses. You got to be careful. If anybody's on meds, definitely check with a doctor before you do stuff like this, because you don't want to conflict with that. But I can tell you, one of the things that I also always promote and love is reflexology. And, I'm going to bring Ella back. Anything on reflexology that you could say on that? I mean, that's really good for you, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you love reflexology. You're a huge reflexology pusher, and you got me into it.
Yeah.
And I can definitely say, at some of my lowest points energetically, after doing reflexology and focusing on specific meridians, my energy
Really
started to kick in again. And it's a great healer. And I just want to touch on what you were saying about this being a positive time to cleanse. I just started a parasite cleanse this morning, and it's Helga Clark's cleanse, which I did it last February. I really want to start doing it 3 times a year, but I did it last February, and now I'm doing it December 21st. And what it is walnut hull tincture, clove, and wormwood. And it is amazing. I mean, my energy this morning is off the charts. And I know it's because it's helping clear stuff out. Doesn't matter where you live, what you eat, who you are. We all get these parasites, and it's so important to cleanse constantly.
It sure is. It most definitely is.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've been a fan of reflexology for over 45 years, and I can tell you, it loosens up so many things. Again, by the time I was 50 years old, I could hardly pick up a cup of coffee. My carpal tunnel and C3 in my neck. I found a crystal in the side of my foot on the neck of the little toe on the right side, and it really hurt. And see, this is the other thing people have to understand. Sometimes to get these crystals or coagulations or whatever you want, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
But so does surgery, and so does the aftermath.
Yeah.
And sometimes surgeries can really be helpful. I mean, I agree that, it's good that we have allopathic medicine that can, in emergency situations, do this.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I try and keep away from that stuff if I can. So I can't say enough about that. And the solstice is a great time to cleanse on this stuff. Why? Because it's the energetic point where we're at our lowest. Epsom salt baths, resting a little bit, is not a bad thing, and we all feel it. We can all really
Yeah.
feel when this happens. It's a very, very powerful time of the year.
Yeah.
And it's also a great time to celebrate a little bit too. It's interesting, the 752-day periods, which again, if you start the spring equinox, see, there's 7 days of the week. There's 7 halls of heaven. There's actually 7 holes in your head, right? So 7 is a very sacred number. Even talks about the 7 halls of heaven, right? So what's interesting, and hell, I might also add, but who wants to go there, right? But anyways, the bottom line is the first 52 days is the sun period. The next 52 days is the moon period. See, the sun is the planting season from the spring equinox forward. Well, right now we're in the Venus period, and that'll continue into the latter part of January. I'll be talking about that later. And what that means is this is a time of celebration, and people celebrate all the things from the year prior that they've done. And I think, part of that is also taking care of yourself too. I think it's a wonderful thing to consider. And I'm glad too that you're coming back so much, Ella, and feeling so much better because
Me too.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
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 I mean, you were so bad you couldn't walk across the room.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really scary stuff. So speak to that, Jeff. Speak to the energies that I had, these debilitating energies that I had going on, which many people, unfortunately, have experienced or might be experiencing now or will experience. It's important to understand these energies so you don't go out of your mind.
That's true. Yeah. I have to say, well, what happened is she had a Neptune by what we call primary direction. It's a fancy word that just means it's a solar arc direction. She had Neptune squaring Mars. What does that mean in plain English? Debilitating energy. It makes you feel like you're in the twilight zone. And I think it's safe to say you kind of felt like you were in the twilight zone, didn't you? Plus, you had a number of other things too. You also had transiting Saturn over your ascendant and Neptune. And I've been mentioning to everybody, we have this Neptune-Saturn conjunction. And this is why the weather is off the charts. We're about ready to get 10 inches of rain here, which is coming right up in a couple of days. And the Pacific Northwest has just been slaughtered with flooding and rain, and other parts of the world as well. So, what we see here is these planets really do have an effect on the atmospheric pressures and weathers and all this stuff. And sunspots too have been off the charts. And of course, we got the AI Atlas thing. But the Saturn-Neptune conjunction was happening very close to your ascendant. Thank God it'll be away from you by the time it actually happens in February. But you've had a lot of really powerful transits and progressions. And I love that because it's good to get blood tests or see the doctor, but I've often seen many times allopathic medicine can't come up with what is wrong. They diagnose it, they do tests, and they don't know what's wrong. And I typically see this with Neptune, Mars, Neptune, Sun, or Neptune ascending aspects. My mother turned me on to this in the late 70s, early 80s. And I got a really wonderful book from her. And I've got many books on medical astrology, which is fascinating. And it talks about these powerful outer transits and progressions that happen on people. And boy, when they do, it's amazing how powerful it is. And I think, you experienced that, didn't you, Ella?
Oh, yeah. It was horrible. Honestly, horrible. I mean, like I said, when we started the podcast, I thought I was about to leave this planet. Like my time was up here. Like, just that's the way it was. And you're right, because 2 different doctors, an Ayurvedic doctor and a hormone specialist, they couldn't figure it out. They said, well, you're doing all the right things and this and that, and they couldn't figure it out. And, Jeff, you just kept saying to me, look, they're not going to be able to figure it out because this is about Neptune and Saturn. And Mars was in the mix too. Don't leave out mini Mars.
Oh yeah. Anytime, Mars is the muscular system, and it's also the blood. And it really skews weird things. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I've seen this for like 50 years. My mother turned me on to this. She was a specialist in hemodialysis. And it was really interesting how she would talk about different things that seemed to affect the body in various different ways. And I've seen this psychologically too. I always tell the story, I've had parents who've had children who've had really difficult progressions like you just went through. And, no one could figure out exactly what to do or why it was happening. And, what I can offer is, hey, this is when the storm clouds are coming in. This is when it's going to peak. And here's when it's likely to go away. And oftentimes we get really fatigued, because these transits of progression sometimes can be really slow. They can last up to a year or more on some of the outer transits. Then, you're like, okay, enough is enough. I just want relief,
Yeah.
So, you've kind of had the pink elephant on top of you with your finger and toes sticking out, you're underneath going, whoa, 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 please
Oh no,
let me out. Right?
it was awful. Really,
Yeah.
really awful.
And it's just starting to dissipate now.
Yeah. Well,
And,
clearly, it's interesting because my energy is coming back. I still have muscular issues, for sure, but the energy is coming back. My whole attitude has changed. I mean, the thoughts I was having, really pretty insane. When I think back to what I was thinking, I can't believe it. Honestly,
well,
it's like,
and then you
where
had
did that
issues.
come from?
Look at right when this all happened, your father passed away and you had all those issues with the
Yeah.
family and everything. It was
Yeah.
really the twilight zone. It really
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Oh no,
I
it was
cannot.
a lot. Yeah.
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 Oh,
It's
Neptune
like
and Mars.
everything happens at once, right? It's like the planets set it up, the universe sets it up for us. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what is it? Is it about trying to see how strong we are? What can we push through? What won't we push through? Well, I'm in it to win it,
Yeah,
we
there you
all
go.
are, right?
Yeah.
We all want
Yeah.
to live a
The only thing I can
happy
play
life.
is this. Let's see if it'll play.
Oh,
That's your twilight zone.
yeah. Yeah.
Here's the main one, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it feels like. It really does.
Yeah.
And
It does. It's
I
what
hate to
it
say
is.
it, but
Yeah.
and I've had it in my own life too. I mean, I had stuff hit me when I was a teenager. I was so wiped out. I mean, it was like,
I know.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
And again, it's like a traffic or weather report. It's not going to take it away, but it does change your reaction to understand when these energies happen, and that's everything. It really
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. And
It
even if the
really is.
chart shows, well, you do have something physical going on that you need to address right away. And the chart does show that
Yep.
for many people. It's all right there. It's just so fascinating and pretty much mind-blowing, this connection that we, as a form, no matter what form you're in, right? We here
Yep.
on earth in these, you call them garments.
Yeah. The body is a
we have
garment.
this
The mother prepares the
Yes.
garment, for the soul. Yeah.
Yeah, we have this intense relationship with the planets. No question about it. No,
You bet.
and belief isn't required. It just isn't.
No, it isn't.
You don't have to believe in astrology. It's
Yeah.
happening.
That's right. Well, it's energy. I think as time evolves, I think we need to stop calling it astrology and call it astronomy interacting on the soul, because it's really what it is. And even to the naysayers, I say, well, observe these energies or time periods in your life. It's like driving a car. I mean, don't you want the maximum amount of awareness? I mean, I have a pretty large truck, and I love that it has a backup camera, because the last thing I want to do is back into somebody or something, right? So I love having any way I can to keep safe while I drive, keep aware. And this is all you're doing with these energies, is you're looking at cycles in your life. By the way, Ella, you were the one who designed the website, and she put some great gift cards on there. And if anybody's looking for a
thanks
reading,
for
you can get
remembering
gift
that.
cards on the website. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Well, while I was feeling incredibly debilitated, like not being able to go out and all of that, I wanted to redo Jeff's website because I felt like it was totally outdated. And, he's such a cool guy. I was like, you need a cool website. It wasn't a cool
Well,
website.
I'm glad you think so. I didn't think I was that cool.
So I redesigned his website, and it speaks to so many things, all of the services he offers, and but like Jeff was saying, there are gift cards. If anyone is looking for a gift of any denomination, starting at $25. But to me, this is a next level gift to give someone, because it really helps give them direction in life. And to me, there is no better gift than that. So yeah, you guys can check it out if you want to, jeffharmon.com. And
It's
there's a lot
fun.
of great information about astrology on the website too, which I love.
Yeah. You really did a great job. And we also upgraded the gemstone section, which we're going to be doing on more.
That's
And I
there
got to
too.
tell you, it's interesting, you got a new gem and you felt it instantly when you put it on. And I love doing gems for people because I get untreated gems.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the moon period. So it's
You're in
really
the moon
important
dasha.
if someone is in the moon dasha to wear a moonstone. And it's the minute you gave it to me, when I held it in my hand, it was like a light bulb went on, and I put it on.
Remember that.
Haven't taken it off since. I think that was just a couple of weeks ago. That was the beginning of my healing, literally. Remember that day is when I started to feel a little bit better after I put that on. It's really it's all about timing.
But it was also dissipating too. See, gems are interesting because they don't have power, they resonate power. And that's why having an untreated or natural gem, not a lab-grown gem, and so many people are pushing lab-grown gems, but natural untreated gems. And I was really blessed to find a partner many years ago who they supply jewelry stores. So I get to see the pick of the litter. I mean, I literally get really high quality gems. And I have a laboratory that we can certify and validate. I actually gotten to the point I can feel a gem. I can take a loop and look at it and see if it's treated right off the bat. And that is so common. And so are lab-grown gems. And I got to tell you, you get a natural gem, it really has a vibration. I always use the analogy, if you've ever ridden a horse and you don't learn to stand up in the stirrups when it gallops, you're going to get pounded. Well, that's how a gem tends to work. See, if you're in a dasha or time period, there's certain gems you want to wear all your life. There's other gems you don't want to wear. Like I can wear blue sapphire. You, Ella, can wear blue sapphire all day long because you got such a good Saturn. It's actually Raj Yoga in the midheaven. If I wear blue sapphire, I literally get a headache. It really affects me because my Saturn aspects my moon. So I don't want to touch it. But yellow sapphire is perfect. See?
Yeah. Well, we're also doing headbands for ladies, and we're doing bridal tiaras and all kinds of things that you might not think about energy, gemstone energy, but around your head is the best place. Like you're going to make a
third eye chakra
for me. I want to keep it around my head and close to third eye chakra. Yeah. So you are getting many comments here, and I saw one earlier. Someone mentioned they're doing a watermelon cleanse. I've done that before. That's awesome. That really does clean you out. Somebody else was asking specifically what you're seeing in my chart, because they're also feeling really low. Their energy's feeling really low. But you did mention this is the time of year when the energy is much lower.
It is. Yeah. And older people, people who start getting into their late 60s, 70s, and 80s, this is a time to really go easy on yourself. Reflexology, can't say enough about it. And if you do cleanses, you got to go slow, take it slow on the body. Younger people are much more robust. Some aren't. But, it's always good to do research. One of the things I like about the Dr. Helga Clark cleanse that you bought on the internet is it comes with instructions on how to start at a low dosage and ramp yourself up.
Yes.
But I don't care if you're an herbivore, a carnivore, a veganvore, any kind of vor. If you live on planet Earth, you're very likely to be exposed to parasites throughout your life, especially if you have pets or you live on a farm or anything like that, because they're everywhere. And young, strong immune systems can fight it off. But the older we get, it really becomes a problem. And there's been so many doctors I've talked to who said, this is where ivermectin now, and I heard RFK Jr. is just bringing in a guy who's very pro ivermectin and hydroclox. I forget how you say it. It's the hydrochloroquine or something.
Hydrochloroquine.
Chloroquine. There you go. Thank you. I need more coffee this morning. But But see, it's
Well, I
winter
just want
solstice.
to
I'm tired.
say, what's that?
It's the winter solstice. I'm
Oh,
tired.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I just want to say that the parasite cleanse can be used with pets too, with animals as
Yeah,
well. And
that's
Holger
right.
Clark actually makes a specific parasite cleanse for dogs and cats.
You
So,
bet. Oh, horses too. In
mhm,
fact,
mhm.
many people are using the equine ivermectin for topical. I've talked to several
Yeah,
people now who've had melanoma, skin cancer, etc. They're buying these tubes of ivermectin. You can get them for $25 on Amazon. I call it Amazon. And you just shoot it on your finger, rub it over the affected parts, and they're getting healing. And you have to keep at it. But a lot of doctors I'm talking to are saying parasites might be a rampant killer that we haven't
yeah,
looked at closely enough over the years.
yeah,
No doubt
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
It's all about health. It really is. I mean,
Yeah. Oh man, I don't
we've
care how
got
much money
to
you
take
got.
care of ourselves.
You
Yeah.
bet.
And
Yeah, I don't
there's
care
so
how much
many
money you got.
natural ways
Health
to
is
do
it.
that. Yeah, so many natural ways, so many natural
There is.
remedies. It's all about, your lifestyle, everything. And it's hard. It's hard because we all have so many responsibilities and there's so much is coming at us all the time, but we have to take that time to ground ourselves, center ourselves, care about ourselves.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
must do it. That's one thing I wasn't doing in the right way. I can honestly say that being at this, gone through the experience that I went through and being where I'm at now, I can look back and see the things that I wasn't doing, certain things I was doing that weren't good for me, all
Yeah.
of that, it's really
Oh
been
yeah.
an eye-opening experience in many, many
And,
ways.
and we're exposed to so much more toxicity. I mean, you look what the human body's exposed to. The 5G we're around, all the pollution,
Oh, yeah.
all the RF stuff. Most of us have
Mhm.
wireless internet. Just the
Mhm.
electrical grids alone. I mean, we're around a lot of stuff. The human body is tough. It lives in spite of it, but it's really good to
Yeah.
find ways to keep the meridians and the flow going. Reflexology, parasite cleansing, liver cleansing, kidney cleanses. That's another one. Kidney cleanses are so important. And there's
Mhm.
so many great cleanses online. I like the bulk herb approach, even good old parsley,
Yeah.
gravel root, marshmallow root, goldenrod. These are just a few of the kidney cleanses. And there's so many. One of the things I love is I've been jumping on X now and then, of course, which is the old Twitter. And I've been finding so many remedies on there with turmeric and
Yeah.
black pepper and ginger and
Yeah,
banana
you
peel.
make all that stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just drank it right before
So
I
good.
got on today.
Yeah.
Every year I'm wiped out this time of year because I have the sun transiting over my Saturn right up to about the 22nd of December. Every year happens. And I'm
Yeah, and
always
then you
like,
shift right
and then
after
I
that.
shift and I'm like Popeye on spinach right after that sun gets done conjuncting my Saturn. It's interesting to study your charts and find out the yearly cycles you'll experience. And if you follow the sun, which always is consistently going around the tropical chart at the same rate every year. In sidereal, it'll be different, but not much. It takes 72 years for the sun to move 1 degree in the sidereal zodiacs. That's a long time,
Wow.
but that's a lifetime. Yeah. But anyhow, if you pay attention, it's really interesting how you can kind of gauge yourself. The other timer I found is so important is Mars. Mars is your energy. See, that's another reason you're picking up, Ella. I told you Mars is kicking into your eighth house, and then it's going to go into your ninth. And then when it hits your ninth and 10th, you're going to feel like Popeye on spinach. See?
Can't wait.
There
Cannot
you
wait.
go. It's coming. You're doing so much better right now. I
I
mean,
am. I
I
am.
mean, I was checking for a pulse there for a while. I really
I
was. I thought,
know.
wow, this
I
is
know.
this is
It's
serious.
really
I've had
intense.
so many
Yeah.
clients over the years who we've seen these really challenging progressions and also transits. And I can't tell you how powerful they are. I know
So
myself,
powerful.
I've experienced it. They're so powerful.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So going back to the winter solstice,
Yeah.
your overall message is this is a great time to cleanse, to try to heal, and
Yeah.
it's almost a hibernation kind of
Enjoy the
time,
holidays,
right?
but also be careful driving and watch road rage, all that crazy stuff, and handling sharp things. We do have a Sun Mars conjunction. See, the Sun and Mars, people say, well, that happens every couple of years. Well, yes, it does. But actually, no, it happens every year because the sun comes around. But the problem, it actually doesn't, because see, Mars goes retrograde for a long time, almost like 4 or 5 months, I believe it is. I don't have the exact numbers, but the sun moves at 1 degree per day approximately, and Mars it varies, but it's just about 3/4 of a degree per day. It's about 45 minutes in degree minutes. So they're very close in speed, and the sun is catching up to the conjunction of Mars on January 8th. Now, I'll be talking a lot more about that when I do my New Year's podcast, but I can tell you this is really powerful. So, be careful this holiday season. Don't live in fear, live in awareness, right? Just be more mindful, watch fires, don't let stuff sit around. Watch knives and sharp stuff with kids around, which you should always do, but a little more now, and be careful driving. I notice the intensity of traffic is nuts out there right now. And, I still drive a motorcycle, so I really watch it.
Gotta be careful.
And, again, be careful, because it doesn't mean there's anything going to happen to you. Some people will fly through it perfectly, but this is an intense time into this first week of January. So, and again, it's really close in orb right now. I think it's only like 4 degrees. I could actually look at that and tell you in 1 second here. Yeah, it's real tight. Yeah, the sun right now is it's 4 degrees, 48 minutes, and closing every day. It's slightly closing. It only gains maybe 10, 20 minutes per day. So it's not real fast, but that's why it's so powerful, because you have these two planets very close together. They call it planetary war, actually, in astrology, and there's a lot to that, and that's intense. Well, look at also, on the not so positive side, we do see a lot of things going on in the world right now, violence, etc. And that's why it's a good time with your loved ones, and whatever you're doing, just observe a little more caution, awareness around your environments, and driving especially, and any kind of handling machineries. So
yeah. Well, any comments you want to address here, Jeff? Let me see.
Someone saying, I don't know what this is. It's all about the eclipse in tropical. Yeah. It's all on the eclipse. Yeah. Well, yeah, we've got, we always have eclipses coming up. The next big one here is going to be in the February 17th. We got a annular eclipse, and then we've got a total here on March 3rd. We'll be getting into that stuff later, because we can sit here all day and talk about astrology, let me tell you. But very powerful stuff here coming up.
I'd like that, actually.
Yeah. Well, the Neptune Saturn is the big one on the radar screen right now, but we got a lot more than that going on too. There's also a lot of other positive things going on. I mean, this solstice energy is kind of more I wanted to focus on today. And it's happening with a lot of planets. You've got Venus, the sun, Mars, and the moon all opposing or opposite of Jupiter in the sidereal zodiac. So, and Jupiter's retrograde. So, we got to remember, as we start, I'll get into this in the first of the year podcast, but we got a lot of things happening with our government and globally right now. That's really kind of, this solstice sets the stage for that over the next 3 months. So I started to say this earlier, but how the ancient astrologers looked at the year was they would cast a chart on the spring equinox. That would rule the first quarter of the year. Then they'd cast one on the summer solstice, and that would be the next quarter, because you get 4 quarters in the year, right? So we are in the final quarter of the astrological year, even though the winter solstice in the Gregorian calendar is real close to that new year on January 1st. It's really setting the stage for the final quarter between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. And this is kind of divine, God's way, if you will, of composting the past in this final quarter and rejuvenating creation for renewal, which is the spring equinox. And of course, we will hit the 7-cycle Saturn period for the final 52 days from the latter part of January up to the spring equinox. But the solstice sets the big quarter of the final, you could say rejuvenation period between now and the spring equinox. Very powerful. And it's been looked at. And I mean, it's amazing when you go back and you look at the ancient cultures who paid attention to this. I mean, so many things. There's a place in Ireland where they literally have a shaft of light that shines down. I forget what it's called, but Camille was telling him about it yesterday, and it lights up. You can only get like 9 people in there. Look at Chaco Canyon. Look at these temples in India. Look at all these different monoliths all over the world that are lining up to the solstices and equinoctial points. So this is something that has been of great, powerful interest to all ancient cultures. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Well, I got to say, Ella, I'm so glad this was like almost impromptu. We talked this morning, and you said, "Hey, I feel good enough. I think I'll jump on." I said, "Well, great." So I love it that you came on, and I appreciate.
Well, I'm happy to be here. Really happy and feel blessed. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So, somebody's mentioning here about disclosure. There's a new Spielberg movie. I can't speak to that. I haven't heard it yet, but I mentioned on Mel Fabregas' show, which will be coming out on the 1st, all about this movie. It's called The Age of Disclosure, which I really encourage people to see, because this isn't just some CIA guys talking. This is pilots, people in government, people in science, universities, et cetera, saying, look, folks, we're not alone. We haven't been just lied to, but they've been reverse engineering stuff for the last 80 plus years, and absolutely amazing stuff. And again, this year, I'll be talking more about that on the New Year podcast, but there's a powerful time in our life, powerful times to be alive. And it's always good to think positive. The thing I want to end with here that's so important is the most important thing in the universe is your mind. And that's one of the things I was doing with you, Ella, and I love to do with other clients. When we're going through really hard periods, and I know I go through myself as well, I got to coach myself here, right? So when you see that, okay, this is an external energy, call it astrology, call it astronomy, that's not just you, but it's gives you some compass reference points to where you have a beginning, middle, and an end to the saga of what you're experiencing in terms of the energies. It really helps. It really helps because your mind is the most important thing in the universe. I always mention this. Astrology may be important, but when you exit this garment known as your body, the only thing you will take with you is going to be your conscious self-awareness, which is much more than just the mind. It's the mind's ability to perceive and acknowledge who we are as spiritual beings, as having a physical experience. And, it's very hard because life on earth will kick your butt, man. You got the bills, you got this, you got legal stuff, you got everything pounding on us. I always say it's like, hooah, hooah, hooah. You're just getting punched in the gut sometimes. But if you step outside of yourself and you realize it ain't that deep, you got to focus your mind. Your mind is the most important thing in the universe. And the overwhelming, like I mentioned, I was talking to this about Mel, 30 Years Among the Dead is one of the most compelling books for people to read. So is the Magus of Strovolos. Why? What does it do? It makes you realize you ain't going to die. Even though everybody says, well, that's it. He's gone, she's gone, and let's get the money, right? So you realize it isn't about the money and the material things. It's about your experiential time here on this earth. And that's why it's good to take a minute, like at a time like this in the solstice, step back, take a deep breath, give gratitude for what you got, especially when you have little kids or animals or whatever you got. It's so amazing to just look at creation and get out of the white noise of all this crap that beats us over the head every day, telling us what to believe, right? That's what George told us. So that's my message.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jeff, so much. And the solstice, so you're going to be doing the 2026 forecast towards the end of this month, correct?
Yeah, it'll be next week. Yeah. I haven't set the date yet, but real soon.
All
Yeah,
right.
because we're today's already the 21st, right? We only got what 10 days left, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
It is the
Uh,
Gregorian calendar New Year. And, I never really, you feel it because everybody celebrates it and so intense. But to me, the
yes.
New Year was always the spring equinox.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Me
really
too.
love the synchronicity of the universe. When you get in touch with the solstices and equinoxes and cycles, yeah, I think you
Yeah.
operate, on a more maybe time clock
Differently.
that the
Yes.
universe is on.
Yeah. You're more tapped in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. I'm seeing the comments here. Thank you for wishing me well. And I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
well, getting better.
Yeah.
And I'm
I'm
so
glad you're
happy
getting
to
better.
be here and be
Oh,
with
yeah.
everyone and be with Jeff. So have a beautiful Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas,
Yep.
have a beautiful holiday season and take great care of yourselves.
You bet. Yep. Thanks for joining us, and we'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon.